Welcome to the SUNY Schenectady Student Success Center's video version of our Study Skills Workshop. Be sure to download the Study Skills resources that accompany this video. We will be referring to these resources throughout this presentation, and you can take more time to study and use them after you view the video. Before we start, let's take a minute to highlight the services of the SUNY Schenectady Student Success Center and the role of the success coaches. Our overarching role is to help students be academically successful. We do this in several ways, including offering workshops and one-on-one coaching to address academic success strategies. We also help students find resources on campus or in the community that address student issues, academic or personal, that are affecting the student's academic success. For example, tutoring, childcare, or food insecurity. Each student at SUNY Schenectady has a student success coach. The success coaches are assigned by academic division. However, you can choose to work with any success coach with whom you feel you have good rapport. We encourage any student, no matter your grade point average, to utilize the services of the Student Success Center. We are here to support you in achieving your academic best. Information about the Student Success Center, including a list of the success coaches with their contact information, as well as more information about our services, is located on the SUNY SCCC website. Our email address is studentsuccess@sunysccc.edu, and our main phone number is 518-381-1434. Now, let's talk about study skills. When do you start studying? What do you think? The night before a test? The week of the test? The week before the test? Actually, this is a bit of a trick question. You should devote regular time to studying and reviewing for classes throughout the semester. Set aside time each week for each class to organize and review your notes and assess your understanding of the course material. However, to study for an actual test or exam, it is a good idea to start a focused review 1 to 2 weeks ahead of the test or exam date, depending on the amount of material that will be covered. You can get more information on test-taking skills from the Student Success Center's workshop and video on test taking. The Student Success Center offers several workshops and videos, as well as one-on-one coaching to help you identify and use the best study strategies for you to master your course material. This study skills video will provide you with an overview of study strategies and a more focused look at a few of them. As we examine these study strategies, think about: what are your current study habits? What would you like to improve? Do you need ADA services? Throughout this presentation, we will be referring to several handouts and video links that are included in the Study Skills Resources folder that accompanies this presentation. If you haven't done so already, you can access them after viewing this video. One of these handouts is a study skills checklist that can help you identify your strengths as a student, as well as areas in which you would like to improve, according to the following categories: time scheduling or time management, concentration, listening and note-taking, exams, reading, and writing skills. We encourage you to complete this checklist and review it with your success coach. The following are key components of study skills that we will address in this video. your study environment, time management, learning styles, critical thinking and active learning, note-taking, reading strategies, resources, and finally, we will briefly address remote instruction and online learning. Some of these topics, like time management, are addressed further in separate videos and workshops. And as noted earlier, additional resources are provided or referenced in the Study Skills Resources folder that accompanies this video. This video will provide a more focused look at critical thinking and active learning, note-taking, and reading strategies. One important consideration for your studies is creating a conducive study environment. By conducive, we mean an environment that has features which support or enhance rather than detract from your ability to study. We want you to think about the location where you study. Make sure that it is quiet and distraction-free. That includes turning off cell phone and social media. Other features of your location should include good lighting and a comfortable seating and work area. The following is a list of possible items you may need to have handy when you study. Take a moment to review them. And first, I'd like to highlight the first three. We recommend having a planner or agenda in which you have recorded your assignments as well as a schedule for completing major projects. Your syllabus may provide important information about the assignments as well as help you keep in mind your overarching course objectives. For tests and exams, your professors or instructors may have provided study guides. Here are several other tools and supplies to consider. Can you create a conducive study environment at home or wherever you're living now? If not, what are your other options? If you need help with this, feel free to contact your student success coach. Another important component of study skills we want you to consider is time management. We have a separate workshop and video devoted to this topic. We strongly recommend that you take the time to view the video. In it, you will learn strategies to effectively manage your time, tips to keep you motivated, and ways to fight procrastination. Another aspect of study skills to consider is learning styles. In this video, we will just touch on this topic briefly. More information is provided in the Study Skills Resources folder. The 7 learning styles is a theory that suggests people learn best in different ways. All the supposed styles tailor toward an individual strength that is believed to help a person retain information more effectively. These styles focus on one of the 5 senses or have a social aspect involved. Most people benefit from a range of teaching and learning techniques, and utilizing different learning styles can actually improve your ability to master material. The 7 learning styles are visual or spatial, kinesthetic, oral or auditory, musical, social or interpersonal, solitary or intrapersonal, verbal or linguistic, and logical or mathematical. The Study Skills Resources folder that accompanies this presentation includes 2 handouts on learning styles. One is a self-assessment to help you identify your learning style or learning styles. You may find it helpful to take the self-assessment and then discuss your preferred learning style or learning styles with your success coach. Now we will focus on a very important aspect of being a successful student. That is, using critical thinking or higher order thinking skills. Using these skills helps you engage in your studies and learning to be a more successful student and master your course material. Passive learners do not interact with the material they are reading or learning. They only try to memorize, often without really understanding what they are reading or studying. A simple definition of critical thinking is the objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. And a more detailed definition is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and/or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief and action. You may want to pause the video here and note the words in this second definition that appear in bold. These are all qualities and components of critical thinking. When you engage your critical thinking skills in reading and learning, you are being an active reader or learner as opposed to a passive one. You are being an active reader or learner when you utilize critical thinking to engage with the material you are studying. Here are some of the critical thinking activities happening in your mind when you are an active reader or learner. You will formulate questions about the material you are studying, anticipate issues, predict consequences and draw conclusions, and apply prior knowledge and skills to new contexts. By prior knowledge, we mean the knowledge you already have about the subject you are studying before you encounter new material. Or prior knowledge can also be knowledge about other subjects and not just what you've learned in school, but can be applied to the subject you are currently studying to help you understand it at a deeper level. For example, if you know how to play an instrument, the knowledge you already have about music can help you learning to play a new instrument, or in taking a music theory class. The Study Skills Resources folder includes a handout on active versus passive learning. We recommend that you review this handout for more ideas about how to engage with your studies. This slide shows a graphic example of levels of critical or higher order thinking. Bloom's taxonomy was first created by the American educational psychologist Benjamin Bloom in 1956 and has been revised in later years. It outlines 6 levels of thinking or cognition, each ascending to a higher level. From the basic level of knowledge to the highest level of evaluation. You may want to pause the video here to study this graphic. It is also included in the Study Skills Resources folder. We will now focus on another important component of study skills, note-taking. First, we will review some general tips for taking notes. Then we will look at 3 note-taking strategies. So, starting with general tips. Prior to class, complete any homework assignments so you are familiar with the topic that is going to be presented that day. Review your notes from the previous class and look at your homework before class. Print and review any notes your instructor posted on Blackboard. Make sure you have all the supplies you need, such as pens that write, pencils with erasers for math, paper, highlighters, and whatever other supplies are needed for the class. Next, during class, Look and listen for clues from the instructor as to what is important to take notes on. For example, reviews given at the beginning of class, material written on the blackboard or whiteboard, repetition, emphasis. For example, the professor's tone of voice and gestures, or the amount of time the instructor spends on points and the number of examples he or she uses. Another set of clues are word signals. For example, when the professor says phrases like, "There are 2 points on such and such," or "the third reason is," or "in conclusion," and of course, this will be on the test, is a good one. Finally, watch for whether your professor or instructor provides summaries at the end of the class. Then, after class, review your notes within 24 hours. Studies have shown that it's best to first review notes while the material is still relatively fresh in your mind and you can still clarify some of your notes. This is especially true if you've written some points down in shorthand. You may forget what you were trying to say if you wait too long to review it. Now let's look at 3 types of note-taking methods. One or more may be ideal for you, depending on your learning style and the material you are working with. These strategies or methods can be used during class as well as when you're studying. The Study Skills Resources folder includes handouts and links to videos about these note-taking strategies, and you can find many more videos demonstrating these methods online. Your success coach or a tutor can also provide you with more direction. The 3 note-taking strategies we'll review here are Cornell Notes, the outline method, and mind mapping or mapping. The Cornell Notes system was devised in the 1940s by Walter Pauck, an education professor at Cornell University. Pauck advocated its use in his best-selling book, How to Study in College. First published nearly 60 years ago, this text is still in use and is now in its 9th edition. Each page of Cornell Notes is divided into 3 sections. Using either a standard or legal size sheet of paper, the note-taking column is 6 inches wide and takes up most of the page. It is where you record your main notes during a class or lecture. Next, the review column or Q column is to the left of the note-taking column and is like a wide margin, 2.5 inches wide. It is used both during and after class to record key words or ideas or questions you may have. In this template are examples of things you can write down in the review column. For example, use it to identify places to revisit, to write down questions you might have, to create questions to study from, to write down key words, or to make connections to other material. These items are written in the review or Q's column on the lines that correspond to the lines where those topics are addressed in the main notes. Then, third, at the bottom of the page, you would have a 2-inch space in which to write in your own words a summary of the notes on that page. So this is the summary section. Write 4 or more sentences to summarize specific learning from the notes on the page. A recommended study strategy is to cover the main notes and summary sections and then try to answer the questions and explain the keywords that are found in the review or cues column without looking at the main notes and summary. Another method of note-taking is the outline method. This method works best for information that is sequential and moves from a main idea to detail information. You condense the key information as much as possible in outline form. In the outline method, you use Roman numerals and indent to outline and better organize your information. Write down the main point followed by supporting ideas. Leave room between each main point in order to add more information later if necessary. You need to be neat and be efficient. You are recording and organizing your notes at the same time. We'll use this slide to explain the outline method. It shows a partial outline of a psychology lecture on Erik Erikson's 8 stages of human development. You would first use Roman numerals to number the main topics or ideas as headings. Roman numeral 1, 2, 3, etc. And you would be doing this starting with Roman numeral 1 and then the subheadings under that. And when you come to the next topic, Roman numeral 2, etc. So after you start with your main topic in Roman numeral 1, indent under each heading to list subheadings, which you designate with successive letters of the alphabet, using capital letters A, B, C, etc. And then you would indent again under each subheading to list the main points for that subheading, numbering them with regular numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Again, you can find videos online that further explain this method of note-taking, and the link to one sample video is provided in the Study Skills Resources folder. The third and last method of note-taking we'll address in this video is mind mapping, also just called mapping. A mind map is a graphical way to represent ideas and concepts. It is hierarchical and shows relationships among pieces of the whole. Since it is a visual thinking tool, this is a great tool for visual as well as logical learners. And it helps you to structure information so that you can better analyze, comprehend, synthesize, recall, and generate new ideas. You start with a central theme, like this fun example of a birthday, and add associations that are identified with key words. A mind map can have several first-level associations, but the mind can only grasp about a maximum of 7. In this example, we can see one branch of ideas starting with a party, which branches out in a few directions to invitations, food, and decorations. Each of these branches extend further. We can follow one of these branches, for example, food. It leads in one branch to cake, which leads to 2 types of cake, strawberry and chocolate. A mind map can serve several purposes, including note-taking, brainstorming, like we see in this example with the birthday. It can also serve as a memorization aid, as a project or poster presentation, or it can organize or plan homework or a project or paper. The following slides give you a couple more academic examples of mind maps. You may want to pause the video on each slide to explore them further. This slide describes several properties of energy, including its forms, ways it can be generated, and ways it can be stored. This slide shows how you can map out a book summary. So again, using mind maps or mapping is a great way for visual and logical learners to take notes. This note-taking strategy can be used either during a lecture or during your study time to organize and summarize a topic you are reading or studying. Next, we will take a look at reading strategies. The first thing to note about reading strategies is that you use different strategies to read different types of texts. For example, you would use a different style of reading when you read a novel compared to how you would approach a history or math text or a scientific journal. Your speed of reading will vary, and you are looking for different types of information with each type of reading material. In this video, we are going to highlight a strategy for reading textbooks. It is called SQ3R. The letters and number in SQ3R stand for the following steps in the strategy. First, you skim or survey the part of the text you are reading, typically a section of a chapter in the textbook. Note the headings, subheadings, tables, graphs, etc., and any highlighted vocabulary and/or summary paragraphs. Next is questions. In this step, you actually generate and write down questions about the chapter content. You can do this by turning the chapter headings and subheadings into questions. Figures, tables, and other highlighted information that catches your attention can be sources of questions as well. Leave space between questions because in the next step, you fill in the answers to your questions as you read. So the third step is the first of the 3 R's, read. In this step, you actually read the textbook chapter and do so with a purpose. You will be actively reading with the information you picked up from your survey of the chapter in mind and with the mission of finding the answers to the questions you wrote down. As you read, write down the answers to each question. You may also write down additional questions and answers that you find are important as you read the actual textbook. You may also want to just read one section of the chapter at a time rather than the whole chapter at once. After you've answered all the questions, you'll have created a study guide you can refer to. The next step is the second of the 3 R's, recite or retrieve. In this step, you test yourself on what you've learned. Close the textbook and your notes or notebook with the outline of questions you've created, your study guide. Now try to recite out loud all the important points you can recall that were covered in the chapter. This is similar to the study strategy we discussed with the Cornell method of note-taking, where you cover your main notes and summary and try to address the items in the review or cues column. As with the previous step in SQ3R, you can break this recite or retrieve step down into smaller sections of the chapter. The final step is the third and last R, review. After reciting everything you can remember, go back to the textbook and your notes and check for anything you missed in the previous recite or retrieve step. This review will help you gauge how well you read the material and how much more you need to study it. Repeating these last 2 steps, recite and review, do that until you have virtually total recall. This will help you master the material. Again, you can perform these steps on sections of a chapter rather than taking on an entire chapter of a textbook at once. As with the other strategies shared in this video, you can find more information and videos of the SQ3R strategy online. A link to one video describing the strategy, as well as a summary and a mind map of the SQ3R strategy, are provided in the Study Skills Resources folder that accompanies this video. The Student Success Center also has an additional SQ3R handout, and there are tutors in the Learning Center who can help you incorporate this strategy into your studies. There are many more study strategies. Here we just briefly list a few. The Pomodoro technique is also featured in the time management workshop and video. Some additional information on each of the strategies listed here is also provided in the Study Skills Resources folder that accompanies this video. You are encouraged to explore these strategies further by researching them online or reaching out to your student success coach, tutor, or other campus resources. One of the last topics we will cover just briefly in this study skills video is the range of resources you can utilize to support your studies. This list is also provided in the Study Skills Resources folder that accompanies this video. While most of these resources are on campus, keep in mind that you can still access them even when you are not on campus. You can check the SUNY Schenectady website or contact the Student Success Center or the Office of Student Affairs if you need assistance accessing any of the campus resources remotely. Before closing this presentation, we will take a moment here to address remote and online instruction. One key to your success with online classes is to schedule time for those classes. While there may be times that a class meets online at the same time or synchronously, there is also a significant amount of work you need to discipline yourself to do on your own. It helps to schedule that time when you will do this work. Several resources for being a successful online learner are posted on SUNY Schenectady's Student Resources and Study Skills and Support web pages. Links to these web pages are listed here, and they are also provided in the Study Skills Resources folder that accompanies this video. And finally, remember, your success coach can also help you develop a success plan for adjusting to remote instruction and taking online classes. This concludes our presentation on study skills. We leave you with the following questions and resources. What can you do to improve your study habits? Did you get any new ideas today, directly or indirectly, from this video? How can we help you? We hope that you will check out the study skills resources that accompany this video. All the handouts and links to the videos referenced in this presentation are included in these documents. Two of the handouts included among the study skills resources that we recommend you complete are the Study Habits and Learning Styles self-assessments. After you complete them, you can meet with your success coach and develop a study plan that best addresses your needs. Remember, you can contact us by email or phone. And a list of all the success coaches is available on our webpage. Thank you for watching this presentation and best wishes for your studies.